What's going on YouTube? This is what would Josh do, and this is an unboxing of a brand new power bank. This company did reach out to me, and they did send me a couple different power banks. This is going to be the first one we check out. So this is the 165 watt 20K quick charging power bank by AsperX. So we're just going to take a look at the packaging here. It's going to have a little protective like seal around it, so let's go ahead and open that up. All right, so with that, we can read the back of it better now. So it's going to have all of the inputs and outputs and what each port can do. It's going to have the safety listings, the UPC, and all the good stuff there. So if any of that interests you, go ahead and pause the video and read it for yourself. So it's for iPads, GPS, phones, gaming consoles, a lot of different things. So we're just going to go ahead and unbox it. And here we have some goodies. We're going to have a nice little carrying case. Now, I always lose my carrying cases, and then I'm sort of like an OCD where I don't want to put the wrong power bank in the wrong sleeve. So, but this is good. First of all, it's labeled AsperX, so I'll know it goes to this power bank. And it'll keep your power bank free from like scratches and, you know, getting banged up. So you can toss it in a bag, throw the cable in there and close it up and have your power bank protected, which is pretty nice. So in here we have a user manual. We have a short little braided USB-C cable. It looks pretty nice. It's got some orange in it. It's pretty cool. And then we have the power bank itself. On the back of it, we've got some more specs there for the inputs, outputs, serial numbers, and all that good stuff there. On this side, it says 20,000 mAh, 165 watt adaptive. On the top of the unit, we have the USB-A port and the USB-C port. We've got a button to turn the screen on and off. I'll go ahead and peel that off. Shows 65% out of the box. And, oh, look at that. So we also have a built-in USB-C cable, and the specifications for what that cable can do are written on the bottom of the power bank there. So there you go. That's pretty neat. Always having a cable. Never have to worry about losing one because it's built in. And then obviously you still have this port. So if you want to charge up a second device, if say you need a USB-C to Lightning, if you want to fast charge that older iPhone, you just plug that up and you've got you a nice little USB-C to Lightning cable there. Now, this is a separate purchase from a different company. Or if you were to break this cable, like if you're hard on cables and your kid is and they tear it up, you've still got a normal USB-C there, so you're not losing out on anything. All right, so I'm using a 160 watt power adapter. It can do 140 watts on that port. I'm using the cable that comes with it. I'm going to plug it into my tester, and then I'm going to plug it into the power bank. And right away, you can see that we jumped to 100 watts. Or actually, no, 63. Okay. So this thing's going to charge at about 65 watts. Now, that's not slow, but it's not fast. The truth is, power banks that can typically charge at 100 watts or faster do throttle and eventually slow down. So if this can maintain 65 watts for the entire charge cycle, then that's a win. We're going to figure that out. And as you can see, we have a pretty nice, neat animation here. We've got the green bar indicating the power level, and then we have a purple that is spinning around indicating that it's currently charging, and we have a number that is currently going up while it's charging. And there's a number underneath the percentage that shows 63 watts of input. Now the real question lies with, okay, we've got it charging. What if we take that built-in USB-C cable there? Oh yeah, we press the button and stuff shows up. Let's finish going through that. So pressing the button, it shows the runtime, the battery percentage, the battery health, charge cycles, all that good stuff, and then even the heat. And then here we've got the screen brightness, so you can go ahead and long press the button to switch it. So now it's on low, medium, and high. Press it again, and we've got screen always on. We can change that to 30 seconds, 3 minutes, or always. And then back to the main screen. So does it support pass-through charging? Holy smokes. Okay. Definitely was not expecting that. So we are charging the power bank at 65 watts, and we are currently charging the ROG Ally X at 90 watts. So it definitely has pass-through charging. The only downside is you can see the number on the power bank is going down. And I kind of wish the screen rotated. So the number is currently going down because we're taking away more power than we're currently inputting. But it is cool that you can do that. Let's try pass-through charging with a phone. It should definitely be able to handle that. And it absolutely can. I also show that we are using PPS even with pass-through charging, which is good for Samsung phones because it allows Samsung phones to charge at their full speed. Let's see what pops up. Super fast charging 2.0. I'll go ahead and unplug that and plug it back in. Super fast charging 2.0. So that's up to 45 watts, depending on how low the battery in your phone is. If your phone battery is near full, like mine's at almost 90%, it's not going to charge that fast. But if it's at 10 or 20%, then you're going to see, 39, 40 watts easy on your Samsung. All right, let's connect the 17 Pro Max. And again, if your phone's, near full, it's going to not charge that fast, but we definitely can get full speed charging out of this guy. That's exciting. Getting up to 30 watts there, and it just keeps climbing up. All right, 38. And remember, this is pass through, but we are putting in more than we're taking out. So the number is currently going up. All right, so I'm going to use the built-in cable and plug it into the wall outlet and see if there's any advantage or disadvantage, which there doesn't appear to be. We're charging at 63 watts. It says it's going to take 20 minutes to fully charge this battery. All right, I'm going to let this thing fully charge. All right, so I let it charge overnight. This morning, I unplugged it, and it's been a few hours since then. This thing is completely cool. Like, it's actually kind of cold to the touch. And right now we're going to plug it into our RGLI X and see how long it takes to throttle. We saw yesterday that it goes to 65 watts. It stays there for a little while, but then it eventually drops to 45 watts. So let's just see. All right, so plugged in the RGLI X, which in my other video I did completely kill it. So now it needs to be charged. I'm also curious at how much of a charge this thing can provide to it. Keep in mind I will be playing it while it's charging it, so yeah. Let's see how long it takes. It's currently 3:26 in the afternoon. I'm sorry, little ROG. I didn't mean to kill you all the way. Yikes. 3% battery. But we're charging at 97 watts. So as I'm sitting here playing my Nintendo Switch instead, it literally just now dropped to 63 watts. And I have not been playing this. And we're now at 27%. And I'm playing freaking Kirby. Alright, and we just throttled to 45 watts. This thing is warm to the touch. I'd say hot to the touch, but not like it's going to burn you. It's just something you wouldn't want to hold for a long time. And our RGLI X has just been idle, sitting on the home screen, and it's at 49%. Obviously, I would get more of a charge if I had turned the unit off, but my intention was to play it, but then I didn't. So now we're just going to wait for this thing to fully die and see how much of a charge it can add to the RGLI X. Alright, just looked over and this thing was at 0%. It is currently 4:26 p.m. and we have 65% battery on our RGLI X now. Alright, so it's been a day or two, and I want to finish up this video by letting you know my thoughts on this power bank. This power bank is a decent power bank. I do not recommend getting this power bank if you want a 100-watt power bank, because this can only do 100 watts. I don't remember the exact time, but I have two different occasions where I tested exactly how long it lasts at 100 watts. the unit gets a little bit warm, it throttles to 65 watts, then at 65 watts, it stays there for a while, then it gets even hotter and it gets to 45 watts, and it literally stays at 45 watts until it's dead. So this thing gets hot really quickly, and it does not sustain 100 watts total output. So we have a MacBook Pro here that we're going to charge up with the cable. This thing is cool to the touch because it's been charged for a minute. So it's currently producing 80 watts to my MacBook Pro. Well, now you only have the USB-A port, and the USB-A port isn't that great for high power draw devices. But you do have that USB-C cable that is included. So our ROG X is at 90%. Let's plug that in. And there you have it. Can you see that? I saw 155 watts. Our ROG X isn't going to charge very fast right now because the battery is almost full. But if I play a game, it should. The problem is it throttles relatively quickly at 100 watts. So how quick? Oh, 162 watts. 163 watts. So the problem is it probably will throttle really, really fast at that high of a wattage. That was weird. I selected BeamNG Drive and it freaking launched a different game through Ubisoft. Okay, that's super weird. It's literally forcing me to play Trials. Well, we're humming at 150 watts right now. It's funny how quickly the percentage goes down. If you just watch that in real time as I'm talking, it is just absolutely just taking that number there. Now we're fixing to get 88. 165 watts is crazy. It says 25 minutes and it's drained. So I'm just going to play here for a little bit and we'll just let it throttle. I can already feel it getting warm to the touch here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it vibrated and it dropped it. Now we're at 108 because this thing is warm to the touch. All right, so 45 watts is going to the MacBook Pro and 61 watts is going to the ROG Ally X. So that's doing 100 watts right now total. And I've only been recording for 9 minutes at this point, and this thing is warm to the touch, pretty warm to the touch. All right, so I'll have to look at when it did it, but it's now at 45 watts on the ROG Ally X and 45 watts on here. And this whole casing is very warm to the touch. All right, so the casing is at 112 degrees Fahrenheit, 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Is it a bad power bank? No, it's not a bad power bank. Is it a good looking power bank? Yes. It looks fantastic. My biggest complaint is I wish it showed you the individual wattage of each device connected on a screen like most power banks in this category do, but it does not. You have to have your own tester and it will give you the overall wattage of everything that's connected. Let's test and see what all protocols this thing has, and then let's end the video. All right, so we have Quick Charge 3, we have FCP, we have SCP, we have AFC, SFCP, and most importantly, we've got PD3 at 100 watts. And we do show it can do 5 volts to 21 volts at 5 amps. That's what you really, really want to see to charge things quickly. And we do have SVOOC max 105 watts. Cool. So this is a packed little unit here. It doesn't have the newest ultra fast charging protocol. Now let's try that with a different cable connected to the other port to see if there's any difference. All right, so there doesn't really appear to be a difference. So PD3, we also see that 100 watts in the SVOOC. So pretty cool. This power bank kind of sits in a weird spot. I think depending on the price and keeping your expectations realistic, this thing can supply 100 watts for a short time to something. It can supply 65 watts for quite a while, but it will eventually drop to 45 watts. So I think if you're primarily going to be using this power bank for phones and tablets, like maybe to charge both at the same time, you're good to go. If you're getting this to charge up a Steam Deck, you are absolutely good to go because the Steam Deck is going to charge at 45 watts and no faster. And this thing is shown it can do 45 watts and sustain that. If you're going to be using this for a Nintendo Switch 2, that thing only charges at about 20 watts. You are absolutely great to go. You can definitely get that for the Switch 2. Hell, you can charge your Switch 2 and your buddy's Steam Deck at the same time for about 65 watts total. Now, if you're getting this to charge up an ROG Ally X or a laptop at 100 watts, you're not going to be able to do that for very long until it gets to 65 watts. And then when it gets to 65 watts, it's not going to be able to do that very long until it gets to 45 watts. So I think you should get this if you have a Steam Deck, a Nintendo Switch 2, or you plan on using this to charge up your phone and your tablet at the same time. Otherwise, you're better off getting something that can sustain a 100-watt output for a while. Do I have a recommendation? Not at this moment, because you also have to think of the price. And I think the price of the AsperX is pretty good. And that's something you have to consider. Something like this older Anker Prime 26-something, almost 27,000 milliamp hours, it can sustain 140 watts out on one port for its entire life cycle from full to empty. But I do believe this thing's going to cost a lot more than that guy. And this has Bluetooth. It can get firmware updates to make it better. It's definitely a top pick. This thing is still amazing. But I guarantee you it's going to cost more than that one. I'm going to do better at trying to keep recommendations in my head, because for a cheap cost and something that can sustain 100 watts from full to empty, that's probably going to be a lot of people's question. And if I find one, I'll drop a comment below and pin it. Or if you guys have one that you recommend. I got a couple buddies that test power banks and chargers for a living, and if they have any recommendations, I'll definitely be pinning their comment below. I've been keeping it on a fan over here. During all of my testing, I did not put a fan on it, because if you put a fan on this thing, then obviously it's going to be able to provide 100 watts output from full to empty. But not everyone's going to want to have a fan sitting next to them pointing at their power bank. So none of my tests were done with a fan. At the very end of this video, I do have a fan right here that is blowing air on it, keeping it cool. So now it's cool to the touch, and it's being able to supply 90 watts continuous to my ROG Ally X. I think it's a great looking power bank, and for certain expectations and uses, it could be great. I really think calling it a 165 watt power bank is an insult. I don't think they should do that. Something that can do 165 watts for about 7 or 8 minutes, maybe even less, that's not a 165 watt power bank. All right, I'm not trying to beat this thing up too much. I'll have a link to it in the description below if you want to purchase one for yourself. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I'm most active on my YouTube community page. This is What Would Josh Do, and I'm out.